Hi, my name is Adriel William, and today's video is about writing your personal statement. And I'm going to try my best to share my experience and my perspective. And just to let you know, there's no one way of writing an impressive personal statement. There are a couple of different ways, and people have different methodologies to write it. Somebody could be writing it from a linguistic perspective, and my take on this is more from a psychological perspective, how you could make your writing more solid and more impressive for the process of applying to a dental or a med school or wherever you're applying. And I'm going to share my own personal statement as well by the end of the video. And if the video gets too long, I might break it into a couple of parts. And before we continue with the video, I would kindly request you, if you could subscribe to my channel, I would be really grateful. Thank you. So coming to personal statement, one of the things before we continue I want to explain is that when you apply to a school, you're actually making a transaction. This is no charity. What's happening is that you're requesting the school that let me be a part of that fraternity and let me get education and knowledge from your platform. But in return, I will not just give you tuition fee and money, but I'm also going to bring something of great essence and individual uniqueness to the table. So as a candidate, you want to show them that not only that I passed my exam and I got really good score on TOEFL, but I have something unique in my personality and in my life that will be a major contributing factor to the institution and to the team. And most of the Western society is built upon this, and you can look at the leading people in the Western society like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Most of them had a uniqueness in their personality, and that's what Western society really tries to appreciate. So how do you do that? So if you're applying to a school, one thing you need to realize that whether it's your supplemental answers, whether it's your personal statement, or whether it's your interview, all of them should be showing your uniqueness. And I think this is what I try to advise, like your personal statement, your supplemental answers, and your interview should go hand in hand. It's not like you get your personal statement written by a really good writer, and later on when you're writing your supplementary answers, they don't synchronize or they don't go in accordance. So you want to have a same perspective and same quality of writing and expression in your personal statement, in your supplemental answers, and even during your interview. Do not create a discrepancy between them. So that's one thing. Second thing is that when you're writing your personal statement, one thing you want to figure out is have a question before you start writing. Why are you writing? Whenever you do a writing in your life, have a question. What's the problem you're trying to solve? What's the reason that you're writing this paragraph or these sentences? And for applying to schools, I think you should create a life narrative before that. In a life narrative, you should have a reason that you shouldn't just say that since I was 1 year old, I wanted to grow up into a person who could do really good class 1 filling on a upper first molar, because that's not how a 1 year old thing, right? So your story should be something of a well-rounded individual who was growing up in his life, and he had to go through some circumstances, or he went through some experiences that transcended his thought process into a higher being. And that's when you decided that I want to go into the vocation or the trade of dentistry. And let me explain. So usually people will tell you, if you see, there are a couple of videos and people will tell you there's pre-dental life, then there's life about your dentistry, like dental school in India, Pakistan, or Middle East, and then what you're going to do after you graduate from United States from the dental school. And that's a very good way or a good layout of writing your personal statement. But I want to go into a bit more high resolution of how you can make this more impressive and more deeper, because you're going to use the same narrative in your supplemental answers. And that's one of the things that helped me getting into schools and going through this process is whatever I wrote down in my personal statement, I tried to write the same kind of thought process in my supplemental answers. And even during my interviews, I tried to do the same. And so how do you do that? So my recommendation is that you find a centralized theme, a core value in your life, and that's a purpose that you want to write in your personal statement. For example, in my personal statement, at a younger teenage life, I was able to volunteer with dental camps in Pakistan who were working with low socioeconomic status and who were working in lower caste people from untouchable communities. And that's when I was able to see how dentistry could make a significant difference in the lives of people. And that's when I thought about pursuing this profession, or pursuing a profession in this field, which will allow me not only to improve my life, but also the lives of people around me. So that became my centralized theme from the experience that I saw. And how you continue with that in the next paragraph is that you utilize that experience, that later on in future things happen to you as you grow up. Obviously, when you went to dental school, you found new mentors, you went through relationships, you went through traumas, you went through exciting and learning exposures. And during those exposures and those experiences, that original purpose actually grew stronger and stronger inside you. And that's what you're trying to tell, that what I started experiencing in that first paragraph, or what I started off as a centralized theme during my next phases, it could be your life through in the dental school, or could be out of dental school, your personal life, whatever happened to you, it actually encouraged you more and more to pursue this. And after that, you want to even show that what kind of purpose or what thing actually ignited you to migrate to United States or move to United States and pursue higher education in United States. And not just pursuing higher education, you're pursuing dentistry as a profession. So for example, you could say, I always wanted to pursue education from Western society. Well, you could have done Masters in Health Administration and go into administrative job, or you could have done MBA. So you're not just saying that I wanted to come to US to get higher education. I also wanted to get higher education in dentistry because it will actually reconnect me with my original purpose that I have in life. And just to give you an example, just as I said, when I was striving to pursue a life which will let me improve myself and the life of people around me, dentistry seemed to be a very powerful profession which will equip me to be very financially balanced, which allow me to heal people, and it will allow me to give a strong standing in the society. Along with that, getting that credentials or getting that education from United States will get me to the top, or allow me to pursue on a very higher platform. And while writing about this, I talked about my father's death, how it kind of changed me and changed my perspective about life and about my existence. Along with that, a little bit about my residency in OMFS, and then about my master's program. And so the thing is, you might have different experiences, but what you want to do, use small chunks of those experiences, and it doesn't matter it was a small experience or a big experience. What matters is that how you explain or utilize that experience to say that I will become a better dentist, or I will be a good dentist, or I will be a good team player at that institution. So you're not showing off what you did. You're actually telling them that how that experience will make you a transcended human being and a transcended dentist in future. And that's why they should bet on you, and that's why they should select you as a candidate. And you want to utilize through all of these experiences. And along with that, you want to find out things which are quite relevant to American society. There are some problems that are quite relevant and that you see on news all the time. For example, opioid crisis is one of them. And the reason I'm saying this, because during my master's program, there was a lot of discussion on this. And then there was for example, HIV is a big thing. So you have to be well aware of what's going on in the news, what is relevant to the American society. And then you could talk or discuss or at least write a little bit about that in your personal statement and how you could relate to it. And once you become a dentist, you would be able to play some kind of positive role in the society to deal with that problem. A lot of people ask that should I be repeating my resume or not? Or, well, there are some things that you could repeat if you feel those are really, really important and that really shaped you into the human being that you are. But for the majority of part, I wouldn't recommend repeating your resume. What you should be telling is that how you are a well-rounded individual and how you know the society and how you are a teachable human being, and when you will come to their institution, you will play a positive role. And I think your words and your writing and your expression of ideas could really depict who you are and what you're capable of. And in the last paragraph, you're actually telling them that if you invest on me, or if you equip me with dental education, how I will contribute back to the society and back to my original purpose as well. If your purpose was to go into a specialization, if your purpose was to go into a research, if your purpose was to go into academics, whatever it was, you need to show in the last paragraph that you connected to your original purpose in life, and you need to have that. And this is a very, I would say, abstract idea of how I wrote my personal statement. And one of the deeper things when you're writing about any story is that you need to understand there are some ideas in the world which are universal. And what do I mean by that? Well, according to psychology, there's something called archetypes. Archetypes are characters or stories, or they are personalities which are universally accepted by everyone. And if you start to understand how archetypes work in the world, and I think Carl Jung wrote really good about it, and if you have a chance, do Google archetypes. You can write your story based off an archetype. For example, the archetype of a brave warrior, that's universal. The story of Rocky Balboa, or movies like Indian movies, most of them are based on something like a brave hero or something like that. And that's very universal across cultures. In the same way, the relationship between a mother and a child, that's something archetypical. So you need to find something in your story which resonates throughout cultures. For example, in my personal statement, when I talked about my father's death, that's something which is very universal. Everybody has a father. At least most people in the world have seen their father. And if they have seen the death or demise of their loved one, that really impacts them. And I wasn't lying, or I wasn't creating a story, fabricating a story out of the blue. That was something in my life, and I had to express that as a unique incident in my life. And that really helped me to explain myself, who I am, and what it allows me to become in my future, and how it actually helps my potential to achieve the things that I want to achieve in my life. And maybe in the next video, at sometimes I could go into the detail of this concept of archetypes. And if you do want to get more insight, I would recommend do Google it. Like, it's a very, I would say, a fascinating concept, because most of the cultural heroes that you see throughout the world have the same kind of characteristics, whether they were originating from India, whether they were originating from Middle East, whether they were originating from the West. The heroic characters remains the same. Like, it's just like how the brave prince killed the dragon and then got married to the princess and got all the treasure. This is a typical story of an archetype, and it is translated through different cultures. And maybe sometime in future I would be able to explain this in a video and go into more detail. But I hope this brief introduction about writing a personal statement would be helpful to other people. And if you want help in finding your uniqueness or finding a life narrative, because most of the people have a life narrative, but they never thought about it, or they haven't seen the uniqueness in their individuality. And you need to sit down and think about yourself. But if you need help with that, that's something I could assist you with. You can contact me. My contact number and my email address is in the description. So hopefully I will see you in a more meaningful video in the future. Thank you.